I feel as if lately the world has gotten better at making us want to buy stuff, especially because it's all just content at this point. I'm scrolling and suddenly bam, I see this thing that I don't need but now I must have. And even after 5 years of practicing minimalism, I still find myself getting the urge to spend on unnecessary things, and I'm sure you do as well. So in this video, I'm going to share 5 tricks and ways of thinking I've learned that have helped me stop wanting to buy unnecessary things. Consider life with the item after a year. You may have heard the term hedonic treadmill before. It's defined as the observed tendency of humans to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes. And when I put most things through this test of what would it be like a year after having the item, they almost all fail instantly, because the thing that makes it alluring to purchase is that it's new. Like, I've had the same phone for 4 years now, because every time I consider upgrading, I think that in a year, that new phone will feel the same to me as this 4-year-old phone I have. It'll just be a phone and not a new phone, because new things always become old. But there is a type of purchase that kind of doesn't exist on the hedonic treadmill, and I think it's important to share with you because it raises your baseline happiness. And those are purchases that remove long-term pain. So if you have an old laptop that's constantly freezing or giving you problems throughout the day, and you decide you want to purchase a new computer, after a year you won't have more happiness with the computer, but you will absolutely have less frustration throughout that year, which then raises your overall baseline of happiness. Take the power out of sales. I made a rule to combat sales, but first I want to share with you the power of sales. Here's how Cyber Monday sales affects the US consumer and by default the rest of the world. The average person's buying activity increases by 512% on Cyber Monday compared to an average day. And most people find out about it directly on their smartphone via social media, email, or influencers. And obviously this makes sense because it's a great deal and people spend more money. But there is a lot of psychology that goes into getting us to spend money. Sales create urgency and a sense of loss, so we can grab things up before the good price is gone. It's a fear of losing the opportunity and the best price. And I don't think sales are bad at all, especially if you know exactly what you're going to be purchasing. But whenever I see words like seasonal sale, limited time offer, closes in 2 weeks, I pause because these things are strategic and it's important to know that. Like, I would never spend $4,000 on an 8K TV, but if I saw it on sale for $1,000, even if I didn't want a TV, my brain would be like, yeah, great deal. Then I'd start trying to find a place to put this thing I never wanted or needed. So how do we take that power back? Well, I follow a simple rule. If I see value in something, I'll pay full price. And if my only motivation to buy it is because of the price, I pause. This takes the power of that limited time frame away, so I don't have that sense of urgency and that fear of loss driving me to make purchases. Because if I was going to buy it, I would pay full price because it's already worth the full cost to me anyway. But if I ask myself that question, would I pay full price for this item? I would never pay full price for that TV, which lets me know that it's not something I ever wanted to begin with. It was just a sales trap. And if you see the value in what I'm doing here, then please hit like down below for your boy. And let's move on to number 3. Align your spending with your values. Ramit Sethi has this phrase, show me a person spending and I can show you what they love. If you take just one thing away from this entire video, then let it be this one. If you look at your last 5 purchases, how many of them align with the things you truly value? Before I knew my values, I was a walking target for advertisers. All it took was some cool camera effects in an advertisement, maybe word of mouth from someone, and I was fully committed to buying something. I remember a friend showing me his brand new MacBook back when I didn't need a computer for anything other than browsing the internet. And he had this really strange way of typing on it, kind of like how a gorilla would type on a computer. And that made the keyboard seem so interesting and cool and new. And I wanted nothing more than to get one so I could join the cool kids club. And that may seem silly now looking back as an adult, But this never actually leaves a lot of us. Seeing someone else's nice apartment or their new BMW has that same effect on most of us even in adulthood. But once I committed myself to mostly spend on things I valued, like relationships, peace, self-development, fulfillment, and freedom, most advertising and new stuff just became background noise, and the amount of money I spent went down dramatically overnight because a new car or a new computer could never align with the things I truly value. And one of those values is learning. So I created the Biscuit Bites newsletter, which is just a 1-minute read to fit into your busy day schedule so that you can get the key takeaways from these videos that I do. So if you enjoy it and you want to support the channel, you should check it out, link in the description below. I think you will enjoy it. Wait it out. One of the best mindsets I found to spend less money was learning to wait to buy things. If I'm online and something interesting pops up, or if I'm out shopping and something catches my attention, I always try to give myself at least a minimum of 2 nights to let the enthusiasm and attachment to wanting this item die down. And if it's something a lot more persistent or expensive, I'd give myself about 2 weeks to really mull it over. And in almost every case, after a week, I forget that I ever wanted it to begin with. And now I have to give you all a bonus as well, because while writing this, I found that there's one thing that really makes a difference that I just couldn't leave out of it. So I'll give you guys that after number 5, which is consider your financial goals. If you're watching this video, you're at least concerned about your finances, which is a very good place to be. When I first started minimalism, I also fell into the personal finance world and started setting financial goals to hit. And the very first one I ever set was to build an emergency fund of 6 months. That guided a lot of my spending choices because it's not possible to both save for 6 months of expenses and buy unnecessary things. Every unnecessary thing I bought was actively going against my financial goals. I opened a separate bank account for it, and just seeing the number go up or down reminded me a lot about my goal. And that was enough to stop me from buying unnecessary things. So if you don't have any financial goals right now, it's a really good way for you to both get your finances better and at the same time control spending on unnecessary things. And as promised, the bonus, get a hobby. I'll caveat this with get a cheap hobby, because all hobbies are not cheap. But after whatever initial cost you pay for your hobby, whether it's a camera, bicycle, or whatever, it's usually mostly free after that. I noticed for myself that whenever I didn't have a hobby or something to just kill time, I'd spend a lot more time browsing stores when I'm out, engaging with ads, or just going out and spending more at night. But when I decided to pick up phone photography as a hobby, I spent a lot less time just browsing when I'm outside, and I'm not really going out at night and partying to fill that extra time anymore. And if you enjoyed this video, check out this video here where I talk about why I'm so frugal. I think you'll enjoy it. As always, thanks for watching.